our house, we have a good number of plants scattered around, and I'm basically the one who takes care of them. And they do pretty well generally, but once in a while, a plant will start showing signs that all is not well. The leaves may start turning brown, or the stems start drooping, or the leaves start falling off. And when that happens, I start wondering what's wrong with the plant. Now, I don't do this in the sense of blaming the plant as if it's being difficult or doesn't like me or that it has a crazy death wish. I know that the symptoms are not really about the plant itself, but about what the plant is being given in order to grow. Now, the needs of plants are pretty simple. They need the right temperature, the right amount of water, nutrients, and sunshine, basically. And if all that is provided, they naturally thrive and grow. That's how they were made. So if one of my plants is not thriving, I try to figure out what necessities I'm not providing enough of, or what I'm providing too much of. This is pretty much how it works with anything that is living, really. If you give it what it needs to grow, it will grow. Everything is designed to grow if given the right stuff. It's pretty automatic, actually. It works that way with us human beings also, although we sometimes forget this and we attribute, quote, failure to thrive to some other reason. When humans are not growing well, the symptoms are not leaves falling off. The symptoms are things like depression, violent behavior, acting out, rigid or simplistic thinking, mistrust of the unfamiliar, dishonesty, criminal behavior, crippling fear, anxiety, and so on. When someone shows any of these behaviors, our society tends to treat them as if there's something wrong with the person, and efforts to fix them, quote, fix them, are made. So, to this end, the medical profession addresses the disease causing the symptoms and tries to fix it. The legal system addresses the violation of the law. The mental health system diagnoses and addresses the mental illness and tries to fix it. Religion addresses the sinful act and tries to fix the sinner. Now, at their best, these are all ways of trying to help the person who is not thriving or growing well. But these ways tend not to be too helpful in the long run because they don't really address where the, quote, illness is coming from, where it came from in the first place, and that is the lack of the necessary elements for natural growth and health. And until that issue is addressed, the person isn't likely to get better. Now, the connection between the, quote, illness and the lack of necessary elements needed for health is often pretty obvious. You know, a child who grows up with constant criticism, which is lacking encouragement, will often have a problematic attitude regarding achievement. A woman in a long-term physically abusive relationship, which is a lack of safety, will often find trusting others very difficult. A child who is neglected or abandoned, which was the lack of early emotional attachment, will find it difficult to create and maintain healthy relationships. And yet, this evidence is often ignored as we go about addressing the symptoms of people who are not doing well. This points to two different views we can have of us human beings, two basic views. And which view we choose will determine how we treat each other. The first view is that there is something basically wrong with the human person, and we need to correct or fix what is wrong, often using force or fear or chemicals or restraint or threat or some other outside influence, and often without the consent of the one who is, quote, ill. Now, the second view holds that supplying the person with the necessary elements for health and growth, like giving a plant what it needs, will naturally result in positive outcomes and the increase of life. Now, I believe the best way to help an ailing person, as well as an ailing plant for that matter, is to supply what is needed for the natural process of growth. This is relatively simple with the plant, but what humans need in order to thrive is much more complicated and requires much more time and effort just to understand what has been lacking and what is needed now for growth. Maybe that's why we tend to focus on the simpler problem of eradicating the symptoms rather than providing resources necessary for health. Now, my experience as a counselor has convinced me that people will heal and grow if they get the necessities they need. As a counselor, I don't have all answers to fix people or fix their problems or fix their illnesses. What I do is I offer some elements that every human being needs in order to survive and thrive. This includes helping people know that they are important by listening to them respectfully. I let them know that their problems and difficulties are important by my not trivializing their experience or trying to convince them to feel otherwise or think otherwise. I make sure that they know they are not weird or crazy by assuring them that many others have had the same experiences. And I express trust and confidence in their abilities to discern how to go about addressing their problems and to make their life better. Instead of addressing the client's symptoms, I offer validation, respect, acceptance, care, and confidence in their abilities. I often find those are the life-giving ingredients that they may have been missing, but need in order to deal with their problems and grow and thrive. Now, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. In other words, he said, if we do what he did, we will find life. We will grow and thrive. We'll find life for ourselves and others. So what did he do? He offered everyone he met the nutrients they needed to grow. Things like respect, care, compassion, forgiveness, acceptance, love, and the assurance of being God's beloved children. Now, if we do the same, if we do what he did, then we will, quote, grow many more healthy and whole human beings.